Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully, you guys all had a good holiday weekend. We are back with another week here of the live streams. Today, we will be reviewing yesterday's NFL games. We're going to talk a little Monday Night Football as well. There's not a ton of basketball games tonight. Let me pull that up. Yeah, there's only 4 NBA games tonight. So we'll be reviewing NFL yesterday and then talking about Monday Night Football. Yeah, we have lots to talk about. If you guys are in the chat, say good morning. Let's dive in here. I'm gonna pull up. I have SportWise up right now. I'm gonna pull up ESPN and go through the box scores first, and then we'll come back to SportWise after that. Melissa, good morning. Thanks for tuning in. All right, let's go through these games. Yesterday for me, overall, it was a good day. I had some good teams on DraftKings on the early slate. My team was pretty good. On the afternoon slate, my team was good. Early slate, we played Anthony Richardson, although we had him with Adonai Mitchell, so that was a disaster considering he scored 0 points, but still cashed pretty good. If he had done anything, I mean, it would have been a really big day, but he dropped an end zone target. We'll talk about him when we get to that game, but I mean, there was some room for him to have a big game. Just didn't work out. Afternoon slate, I played Bryce Young. That worked out pretty well. He had a good game. Panthers almost won that game. I didn't play him with Thielen, though, which I said on yesterday's stream. I would have preferred to play Bryce Young with Thielen. Unfortunately, I was like debating a 2v2. And it was A.J. Brown and David Moore versus Thielen, and I can't remember who the other option was, but oh well, still cash decent. Had some decent teams on FanDuel as well. Had a Joe Burrow team that did pretty good. Had James Cook in that one, and he had a great game last night, which we'll talk about. But yeah, overall, not a bad day. The betting for me yesterday was not very good. I had Seattle money line, which was good, but I had Atlanta money line, which is the first game we're going to talk about here. That did not work out. I had a parlay of Bengals and Bills. One half of that worked out. The other half, not so much. All right, first game, Chargers, Falcons. I don't know. It might be Michael Penix time. I'm going to be honest with you. The Falcons here, they're at home. They're coming out of the bye week. And this is what they put up. Not good. Kirk Cousins, 24 of 39, 245, 4 interceptions. A couple of those interceptions came late in that game too. Obviously the pick six is the one that sticks out to me, though. That pick six, just no zip on the ball whatsoever. So I don't know. It might be Michael Penix time here for the Falcons. Not a good performance from Kirk Cousins coming out of the bye week. Bijan continues to do what he does. I mean, carried 26-8 here, Algier. He also mixed in 6 catches for 33 yards, looking like one of the best players in fantasy football. No shocker there. Kyle Pitts with a flat 0 on just 2 targets. Kyle Pitts is over. I mean, there's just no other way around it, to be honest. He's done. So that's sad to see, but yeah, Bijan, Drake London are going to continue to be this entire team. I would be curious to see what Michael Penix could do, but I don't know, if they'll make that move. They're 6-6. They're still very much in the race here in their division and for playoffs and stuff. So I don't know. On the Chargers side, they look good. I mean, good win for them. I talked about some concerns that they could start this game slow with it being cross-country travel, 1 o'clock start. Justin Herbert didn't do much, but, sometimes these games happen in the NFL, right? Like they grinded it out. They got a win in a close game. even though they didn't get a ton from anyone. Ladd McConkey is the big takeaway here. 12 targets, 9 for 117. It was a homecoming game for him, obviously going back to Georgia there. And look, go find my tweets about Ladd McConkey. I literally stated whoever drafted him in the second round is getting the biggest steal of the entire draft. And I don't know. I don't understand. So coming into the drafting process, I was like, okay, I really like Ladd McConkey. I've said this a few times. I've done this for like 8 years at this point. Ladd McConkey is the first or second best route runner I've ever seen at the collegiate level. Like, he is that good in terms of gaining separation and just running routes. Like, he's that good. So I was already like, someone's going to get a big steal with him in the second round. Then when he comes out at the combine and runs a 4.3 and really shows that top end speed, and you combine that with the route running, there's just no way that guy shouldn't have been picked in the first round. I mean, the Chargers took Quentin Johnston in the first round the year prior, and then they get Ladd McConkey in the second round. It's absolutely insane. I cannot believe someone didn't take Ladd McConkey in the back end of the first round. But yeah, he continues to ball out. Still think they need to get a receiver this offseason to pair with him, but I mean, he's a star. Running back was kind of a mess with J.K. Dobbins out. Yeah, Gus Edwards 6 for 32, Kamani Vidal 4 for 20. I still think I'd want Hassan Haskins lost a fumble, so on his only carry. Hopefully the Hassan Haskins experiment is over. Like, I don't really know why this guy's getting playing time other than the fact that he went to Michigan, but hopefully that's over. I think Vidal is still a guy to own here for fantasy, but it's probably not a great situation altogether. Yeah, Nick Westbrook-Akine, another touchdown, Melissa. We were talking about that last week. Actually insane what that guy. Actually, he scored 2. I think he scored 2 touchdowns. That guy's unbelievable. All right, that's my main takeaways from this game. Michael Penix, it might be your time. Bijan and London are going to crush for the remainder of the season. But, yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know who's going to win that division. The Falcons are in there. Steelers, Bengals. The Bengals are done, so their season's over. You could just dance on their grave. They're completely done. Another instance, right? Like, the Bengals come out of the bye week, and they're playing for their lives. They're 2.5-point favorites in this game. They're at home, and this is what you do. I mean, it's just it's pathetic, to be quite honest with you. This is pathetic. I don't hate it just because the Bengals fans annoy me. I'm sorry. I'll say it. I've said this for years. Going back to the Mahomes, Burrow, calling Arrowhead Burrowhead and stuff. I don't know. The Bengals fans annoy me. They've never won anything. They went to a Super Bowl and lost. Like, congrats that you went to a Super Bowl, but you lost it. You haven't done anything since then. Mahomes has won multiple Super Bowls since you went to that Super Bowl. So you just have no room to talk smack to the Kansas City Chiefs. So their fans annoy me, but I just can't believe this effort. I thought for sure they would make some sort of like defensive adjustments here coming out of the bye week. We kind of got that early when Cam Taylor-Britt took that pick 6 back. And then the floodgates just opened after that. I mean, Russell Wilson throwing for 400 yards against you is just borderline insane. Najee had a big game. Pickens, did what he does. Yeah, just terrible effort from the Bengals. Their season's over. I have concerns here for fantasy football, like playoffs. I have concerns if you get to the championship game. Like, if these guys are motivated or playing, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, I don't know. That could be a big factor here. I honestly don't know if those guys will be playing or be motivated in just meaningless games the second to last week of the season. So that's something to watch out for. Chase Brown continued to dominate, though. I mean, he's really good, looking like a league winner, if he continues to play like he has. But yeah, overall, just terrible effort from the Bengals, and their season is over. DJ Chark, 3 weeks not on the roster, coach's decision. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I mean, I'm not there at practice and stuff, so I mean, I'd be willing probably to give him a chance, but I'm not there. There might be stuff that we don't see, at practice, but definitely given the Chargers' kind of state of affairs there after Ladd McConkey, I would be willing to try him out for sure. I'm really just disappointed in the Bengals. Cardinals Vikings, this was a good game. I was wrong on this game. I thought the Vikings were going to steamroll Arizona. They did not. They needed a late comeback to win the game. Unfortunate for fantasy players there that play DraftKings or DraftKings-like scoring. Justin Jefferson, 1 yard less of the bonus there. Literally another yard would have got you another 3 points. So that was unfortunate for those people. Thought TJ Hawkinson would have a bigger game, but he didn't, which was interesting. Aaron Jones, he lost another fumble early on in the game, and that affected things. They also were losing, so, they really weren't running the ball. So that kind of plays into it as well. He did catch a touchdown, and he dropped another touchdown pass. So, I don't know if they would have been trying to score there, so I won't say he could have had 2 touchdowns, but, he's getting opportunities in the receiving game, but I don't know. Cam Akers is going to play. They had Cam Akers in a couple times on just hurry-up drives. They just never put Jones in. And like I said, he lost another fumble beginning of the game, so something to monitor there. But, as long as he's on this team, like, it's still a valuable fantasy role. It's just hard to kind of trust him at this point. Sam Darnold started really slow but ended up fine. On the Cardinals side, I mean, Marv, 5 for 60 and a touchdown. That's solid, right? They said they were going to come out and get him going. They really didn't do that because he did most of this in the second half. I think he had like 1 catch at halftime. So the sentiment that they were going to come out and get him going was not accurate. But he had a good game. 12 targets is nice to see, though. That's the big takeaway for me there. 12 targets for Marv Jr. is nice to see. I like seeing that. Trey McBride caught all 12 of his targets for 96 yards. Guy's just a monster. Him and Brock Bowers are like the premier, fantasy tight ends at this point. But yeah, I think the Cardinals are good. They're still in the mix. Huge game this week. Cardinals Seahawks play again this week. Massive game for that division. So that'll be a good game. But yeah, Vikings, I mean, I still don't know if I'm there with the Vikings in terms of them making a playoff run, but they're a good team and they're very well coached. And sometimes that can be the difference. I'm trying to pull up the standings here. So the Falcons are still in first in their division, but they're tied with the Bucks, who are both 6-6. So it's kind of a battle between those two teams right now. And then the Seahawks are at 7-5. The Cardinals are at 6-6. The Rams are at 6-6. And I mean, the Niners at 5-7. So to be honest, the Niners are still in, but we'll get to that game. The Niners season is over. I'm willing to say it. If they somehow make the playoffs, I'll eat my words, but no, the Niners are done. 3-team race in the NFC West, 2-team race in the NFC South. And to be quite honest with you, the Vikings are in the mix for this NFC North. I mean, the Lions are 11-1. The Vikings are 10-2. The Lions just lost so many guys to injury on that Thanksgiving Day game. That race remains to be seen. Colts Patriots. Shout out to Anthony Richardson. I mean, we've said this a few times. Like, I still don't understand this whole, like, when the Colts went to Joe Flacco. I just don't understand it. I understand, like, they want to punish him, for the checking out of the game thing because he was tired or whatever he said. That was bad. But it made no sense. This kid needs game reps. It makes no sense to bench him for multiple games. They've won 2 games since he came back. and they're in the playoff race. They might get the 7th seed. But good game for him. Not a ton passing. He did throw for 2 touchdowns, ran one in, but more importantly, he led a game-winning drive with under 3 minutes. He took the team down the field. They scored a touchdown with 20 seconds left, and he ran the 2-point in. I mean, great to see it from Anthony Richardson. Like I said, Adonai Mitchell was a huge disappointment for me here. He only had 2 targets. One of them was in the end zone. He dropped it. And the other one was on the last drive. And it was like a 50-yard touchdown. He had a guy beat, and he just dropped the ball. Just terrible game from Adonai Mitchell. Thought he was going to do much more yesterday. So that was very unfortunate to see. I was dead wrong about that. No problems admitting that. Overall, though, it was a good game for Anthony Richardson and the Colts, firmly in the playoff race. On the Patriots side, I thought Drake May played all right. The tight ends just continue to be their leading receivers. I played Austin Hooper on the early slate yesterday. He was 1% owned and just got 40 yards and a touchdown somehow. So shout out to Austin Hooper for that. But yeah, I mean, Patriots, they have a good quarterback that they can build off of coming into next season. They're not going to do anything the rest of the season, though. Seahawks, Jets, the Jets, man. Like I said, this was the one thing I got right betting yesterday. I had Seahawks money line. Yeah, the Jets are so bad. I saw that report yesterday that Aaron Rodgers probably won't be on the team next year. No idea where that guy goes. Absolutely no idea. Yeah, Phil, I said on stream yesterday, I just didn't have the time, and I'm not ever going to put something out that I don't think is quality or is disingenuous, and that I'm not going to play, what I wrote about. So that's why it didn't happen, but it'll be back next week. No worries. Yeah, I didn't know what I was playing until yesterday morning. So I'm not going to write something that's not authentic or quality information. So it'll be back next week though. As for the Jets, though, like I said, I mean, just a disaster team. Aaron Rodgers, no idea where he's going to play next week. Breece Hall, I don't know. I mean, I need to look at the raw snap counts from this game, but clearly was a little bit limited with that knee injury. On the Seattle side, though, Phil, thank you. I appreciate that. On the Seattle side, I have a ticket 2-1 on them to make the playoffs from before the season. So this was a big win for me. Happy for Geno, to get a win there, going back to MetLife. I think that was cool. JSN once again led this team in receiving. He saw 5 less targets than DK, but it doesn't matter when you're getting yards after the catch and stuff. One of my preseason predictions was that he would lead the team in catches. I need to see if that's going to hold true. Let's take a look here. Let's see. I mean, he's leading the team in receiving yards right now. And oh yeah, he's up by 20 in catches. Yeah. Okay. All right, that was looking good. That was one of my preseason takes that is aging well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have many takeaways from this game other than the Jets are a dumpster fire, and I don't know where Aaron Rodgers is going to play next year if it's not there. Feel bad for Devontae Adams, to be honest. Like, Devontae Adams went to Vegas, got traded to Vegas to play with this college quarterback, and then the Raiders got rid of his college quarterback. And then he went to the Jets to play with Aaron Rodgers, and now Aaron Rodgers won't be on the team. I don't know. I feel bad for Devontae Adams a little bit. Titans, Commanders, like Melissa said in the chat, big takeaway from this game. We talked about it last week. Somehow Nick Westbrook-Akine just scores a touchdown every week. He has 8 touchdowns in his last 8 games this year. He scored 2 yesterday. I don't know. The guy is just a touchdown scorer, I guess. I want to know truly. I'm surprised I haven't seen this pop up on Twitter. I want to know if you bet at the start of this, if you bet Nick Westbrook-Akine touchdown and rolled it over in all these games in a row, he scored a touchdown, you would have to have like $1 million. I don't know. I don't know how this guy just keeps scoring touchdowns, to be honest. Terry McLaurin had a huge game, 8 for 73 and 2. Jane Daniels looked good. He looks healthy to me, more so than he did, pre their bye week. So they're still looking good for playoffs, and I'll be curious to see how they perform as a young team. Right, some of these young teams need to learn how to win. Right, we're going to see that with the Chargers, the Commanders, and some of these other teams. Like these teams don't have winning cultures. Like they need to learn how to win. It's not going to happen overnight. So I don't think they're going to go on sleeper runs to the Super Bowl or anything. But getting this playoff experience, should be pretty key for them. Texans, Jags. I mean, the Texans. I said this before the season. I kind of got some hate for it, but I compared the Texans to the Jags of a few years ago. The Jags, that first year with Doug Peterson, they came out, made the playoffs, and then they got down like 24 points or whatever to the Chargers in that playoff game, and they came back and won. And the next year, coming into it, everyone was all in on the Jags, like, betting them for the Super Bowl, betting them, to win the division, and because of, what they did the year past. But look, they ran hot in that year to even get into the playoffs, and then they ran hot to come back and win that game. So I was very short on the Jags last year, and I was short on the Texans this year, though I was not expecting. And look, this is not to say that the Texans are bad. I mean, they're 8-5, right? They're going to get in the playoffs, but they definitely, I feel like offensively have not been putting up the stats that people expected coming into the season. And to me, that was expected because CJ Stroud played so good last year. Like, you can only play so good, especially as a young quarterback, right? Like, defenses were going to adjust to things that you did good last year. So, I mean, again, like they've been struggling. I don't know, like going into the playoffs, I don't know if I would really be backing Houston. We'll see though. I mean, their defense is still solid when fully healthy. And CJ Stroud is still a very good quarterback. But I just don't know. The overall vibe of the team is just a little bit weird. But Joe Mixon once again had a big game here, 20 for 101 and a touchdown. Nico Collins again had a huge game, but was kept out of the end zone. I think he's going to have a big 2-touchdown game here soon. I just don't know when, but it's definitely coming soon. So I'm going to keep being aggressive with him in DFS and betting. Like, I think the 2-touchdown game is coming. Obviously, the hit took Trevor Lawrence out of the game. That was a big thing. I think it was a dirty hit, but I'm not saying that guy's a dirty player. It just was a dirty hit. I don't know much about that guy. I saw that like apology or whatever, that message he put out. I mean, the fact of the matter is it was just a dirty hit. I mean, there's just nothing wrong with it. But there is something wrong with it, but it's just flat out was a dirty hit. Whether or not he meant to do it or not, I don't know. I don't know the person, but yeah, that was a dirty hit. Mac Jones came in. He played okay in relief there, 20 of 32, 235 and 2. Parker Washington had a big game here. Brian Thomas Jr. had a big game. Brian Thomas Jr. had a huge game and was missed on like a 70-yard touchdown by Mac Jones. So he could have had a truly monster stat line here. He's just a good football player at the end of the day. But yeah, let's move on. Rams Saints. I mean, this was supposed to be like a shootout. It really wasn't. It was kind of a weird game. Kyron Williams got trolled twice inside the 10. He could have had like 110 and 3 easily. They scored 2 touchdowns inside the 10 that were not Kyron Williams. Pukas and Demarcus Robinson, both their touchdowns came, I believe, inside the 10-yard line. The Saints, they lost Taysom Hill, which is a big loss for them, to be honest. He does a lot for them. So, I mean, Alvin Kamara is just the true stone nuts. Sean, yeah, I am. Yeah. Alvin Kamara is like the stone nuts for season long if you have him on your team. Once again, like the last 3 years, this has been a thing, and we've somehow got to that place again. I mean, with no Taysom Hill, the guy is just going to dominate the remainder of the season. So if you have Alvin Kamara, GG's for season long. Marquez Valdez-Scantling scored again as well. I don't know. They need Chris Olave back bad, and I don't know. Hopefully he comes back. He went on IR, so he had to miss 4 games. I think that was the 3rd game that he missed, so maybe one more and then he'll be back. Yeah, Sean, I think the Commanders are good. I think they're going to obviously make the playoffs. They're kind of in the Chargers tier for me of like teams that are historically bad, so they need to learn how to win. So I don't really think they'll be going to the Super Bowl or anything, but I think they're a good team. I think Jaden Daniels is obviously, really good quarterback. I think they hit on that pick. I thought bringing in Bob Myers to run the team was a very smart decision from them, and they caught flack for that, but I thought it was smart. So I think he's done well in his first season. They're kind of running the team. I'm still not a huge Cliff Kingsbury guy, but overall, I think the team is good. I think they're going to make the playoffs, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they do. But I think there's some good stuff to build off there for Washington for sure. Yeah, I didn't mean like in general. I just meant like these teams have been bad for quite some time. So you're not going to become great overnight. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I definitely think they're moving in the right direction there. All right, last couple games here. Bucks Panthers again. I said it last Monday. People need to apologize to Bryce Young. They won't. They'll just pretend. They'll just pretend they never said these things. I literally told you guys last Monday that if CJ Stroud had got drafted to the Panthers, he would have been just as bad as Bryce Young was last year. There was just nothing you could do on that team. And he struggled to start this year, but since he's come back from the benching, it doesn't even show up in the stats. I mean, he had great stats yesterday, right? 300 and a touchdown, basically. It doesn't show up on the stats, but just the throws that Bryce Young has made with no time have been just, he has made 5 to 6 to 7 incredible throws in that Chiefs game and this Buccaneers game. While like avoiding pressure, he's just made good throws. He's looked good. He can read the field. The size is still very much a concern, but he can read the field and make the throws. And I think he has that confidence back. Completely agree, Sean. We were denied a coming of age Bryce Young game-winning drive with that fumble. But look, people need to apologize to him. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I'm not even saying he's as good as CJ Stroud. But to act like this is not an NFL quarterback is just not fair when the kid has played one season on the worst team in football and then another season on not even a full season. He's played like 6 games on another terrible team. So it's just not fair to him to say that. He's looked very good since coming back. Hopefully they can like build around him. I don't know. Like the owner is such a big question mark for the Panthers. Like that guy is just an idiot. So, we'll see what happens, but people need to apologize to Bryce Young. Buccaneers, like I said, they're firmly in the mix there for their division. They're tied with the Falcons, both at 6-6. Bucky Irving continues to smash, looking like a fantasy football league winner there if you have Bucky Irving. 25 for 152 and a touchdown, mixed in 3 for 33 receiving. Guy's an absolute beast. I hit on a lot of stuff for season long this year, but I did not hit on Bucky Irving. I was not very interested in him, so that was a miss by me. He's looked fantastic. Mike Evans, big game for the Mike Evans streak watchers to get him to, his 1,000-yard streak. That was a big game right there. Also, good to see Jonathan Brooks' role grow a little bit. It should continue to do so throughout the remainder of the season, so we'll kind of see what we can get from Jonathan Brooks. And then the last few games here, Eagles Ravens was a good real life game. I don't know if anyone saw Lamar Jackson's post game interview, but get prepared to play Lamar Jackson in fantasy, DFS, whatever, their next game. I think they go on the bye week and then they come back and play the Giants. I mean, the way he was talking after that game, he was like, "Get me to the Giants right now." He said his mom yelled at him. And look, a coach can yell at you all you want. If your mom cusses you out, that's a different type of anger right there. So I don't know. I'll probably buy into the angry Lamar against the Giants. I'll be betting on him. The Ravens, it is what it is. They're still a good team. The Eagles, I've said this a few times that I thought the Eagles were going to go on a run. I still think the Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl this year. Whether they'll win it or not, I don't know. I would take the Eagles right now over the Lions in a standalone game. And people might come at me for that and that's not taking anything away from the Lions. I think the Lions are like the third or fourth best team in football. I'm not saying the Lions are a bad team whatsoever. But if you gave me Eagles, Lions right now, I think I would take the Eagles. They just look so good, man. The defense has been incredible post bye week. We've seen it from Jalen Hurts before. He's led this team. He's led a worse version of this team to the Super Bowl before. Now, yeah, he didn't have to go through the Lions, back then, but Jalen Hurts has led a worse version of this team to the Super Bowl. Now he has Saquon Barkley. Now he has a legitimately good defense. This team is a problem. They didn't even have Devontae Smith in this game. Look, this team is a problem. I think it would be an interesting stylistic matchup, though, because the strength of the Lions defense is against the run. And the Eagles, since this winning streak has broken out here, have gone super run heavy. So I think it's an interesting stylistic matchup. But I still think right now I'm taking the Eagles if you gave me a one game to go to the Super Bowl. But I think those are so if we're looking at teams that can win the Super Bowl from the NFC, it's really the Eagles and the Lions for me. That's the two teams. And if we were going to pick a third, I'd put the Packers in there, number 3. That's kind of the 3 teams that I really honestly think could go to the Super Bowl. From the AFC, there's a larger group of teams, even though the Bills look really good. Yeah, Sean, I don't know why the Ravens traded for Deontay Johnson to not use him at all. Maybe because they have a bye week this week, they'll get him more acclimated. I have no idea. And yeah, the fall of Justin Tucker is sad to see, man. I mean, one of just the great NFL players in my lifetime watching football. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame kicker. Pretty sad to see what's been going on with him this year. Last game of the night, it was the snow game, Sunday Night Football, Bills, Niners. Bills look like a wagon. Bills look like the best team in the AFC. Whether they can do it in the playoffs or not remains to be seen, but man, they look good. They look very good. And the 49ers season is over. I don't care. Yeah, fly, Eagles, fly. Let's go. I don't have my Eagles on today, but they're looking good, man. They're looking very good. I don't know what to make of the Niners. People at 5-7, people will say they're still in the mix. I'm completely fine saying their season is over. Like I said, if I get proven wrong on that, I'll eat my words, but they just look terrible. Sean, thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a good day at work there. Niners season is over. Jordan Mason could be a fantasy league winner, though, if you kept him on your team, even with McCaffrey back, because I don't think McCaffrey will play the rest of the season. So Jordan Mason could be big for season-long folks out there. Juwan Jennings continues to lead this team in receiving with Brandon Ayuk out. Deebo Samuel has done nothing for the entire season. The Bills really didn't need to throw the ball at all because you're getting 11 for 63 out of Ray Davis and 14 for 107 out of James Cook. And then you have Josh Allen throwing passes to Amari Cooper, and he hook and ladders it back to Josh Allen. Like, I mean, the rare Josh Allen 0 catches for 7 yards and a touchdown. Pretty crazy, but yeah, they really didn't need to throw the ball. Buffalo looks great. I would put them atop the AFC right now. I would put Buffalo 1, Kansas City 2, and then some combination of Pittsburgh, Baltimore 3, 4, I think is how I would rank it right now. But yeah, Buffalo looks great. All right, let's get back in. That's it for the review. I'm going to quickly run through the Monday night game before we get out of here. So sport-wise in this data space, we have Denver, one of the bigger edges to win on the slate here. You can see 5th highest. They're 6.5-point favorites here. Denver at home. Total's 41.5. I am plus 13 units in the last 2 Cleveland Browns primetime NFL games. Late last season, they played Thursday night against the Jets, and then they played that Thursday night against the Steelers. In the last 2 Cleveland Browns primetime games, I'm plus 13 units betting. There is no one in this space that knows this garbage Cleveland Browns franchise like myself. So if you're looking to bet on a Cleveland Browns primetime game, you better consult with me first. I will post all of my bets for this game on Twitter later today, and I'll have a full breakdown of the game out on the Rolling Insights blog as well. So be sure to look out for that. Overall takes of this game, though, like I said, Denver 6.5-point favorites here, 41.5 total. Stylistically, this is not a good spot for the Browns. I think that Browns game against Pittsburgh, there was some sort of higher powers at play. I talked about it in my blog and in my bets that the Browns, when they play the Steelers, it's a different thing. It was a huge narrative spot with Nick Chubb playing against them after they hurt him last year. It was just a huge narrative spot. That's not the case here. Cleveland on the road in Denver. I just don't know what to make of it. They're missing Cedric Tillman in this game. So I think, Jerry Jeudy is going to be on Pat Surtain here. So this is a revenge game for Jerry Jeudy, but he also has, the toughest matchup on paper. I think Elijah Moore and David Njoku are the guys that have the better matchups and what you want to target here. There's no props up for him also, but I also think Jamari Thrash will step in as the Browns' 3rd receiver in 3 receiver sets. They will play 3 receiver sets. Just that's how Ken Dorsey runs things. So I do think we'll see some Jamari Thrash in this game. They drafted him last year out of I don't know if I always get him confused. I don't know if he went to Cincinnati or Louisville. Like why? I don't know why I get these confused. I'm pretty sure he went to Louisville, but let me see. Yeah, he played for Louisville. Well, he started at Georgia State and then finished at Louisville. But yeah, he looked good in the preseason. A couple times we played him in preseason DFS a few times. So I mean, there's no props up for him. You could maybe take a stab on him touchdown just because you're getting 5-1 or 34-1 on the first touchdown. That's interesting for someone that I do think will be on the field. But overall, I think this is a Njoku spot, kind of attacking the middle of this defense. Njoku is still very much involved in the red zone here. He dropped a red zone touchdown in that Steelers game. And if we look at just overall kind of red zone receiving for the Browns, inside the 20, and Njoku missed some time too, but inside the 20, he has 6 targets compared to Elijah Moore and Jordan Akins with 4. Jerry Jeudy, noteworthy, has 8. And then inside the 10, David Njoku has 8 targets in comparison to Jerry Jeudy's 6. Jordan Akins has 10, but again, David Njoku missed some time. So I think that kind of plays into it. Do we think any team will fall out of the AFC playoff picture and Houston has to be the dream first round matchup? Yeah, if I'm going to go against any team in the AFC right now, Houston would certainly be my pick. In terms of falling out of the playoff picture, it's going to be Denver if someone does. And I said this a few weeks ago. Like, if we look at, the Chiefs and the Bills have already clinched, so they're in. So we have 5 spots up for grabs. The Steelers are 9-3. And if we look at the Steelers' remaining schedule here, they play the Browns again at home, which they'll probably win. They play the Eagles on the road, which is tough. They play the Ravens on the road, which is tough. They play at home against the Chiefs, which is tough. So I don't know. I mean, they may get to 10 wins and then lose the next 3, in which they would have to play that Week 18 against Cincy when who knows what's going on with Cincy in that game. So I don't know. I guess maybe Pittsburgh could, but I'm going to say that's unlikely. Houston, unlikely, just given their division. The Chargers, I'll say unlikely, but let me see who they play the rest of the way. The Chargers have the Chiefs next week in Arrowhead. Then they play at home against the Bucks, home against the Broncos, Patriots, Raiders. So, I mean, there's some room for them to potentially, and especially the Broncos, because the Broncos and the Chargers play each other. The Broncos and the Colts, I think, play each other. So I definitely think we could see some shakeups. But if you ask me right now, Chiefs and Bills are already in. I think the Steelers will be in. I think the Texans will be in. I think the Ravens will be in. So that leaves you 2 spots between the Chargers, Broncos, Colts, and the Dolphins at 5-7 are hanging around in there. So we'll see what happens. Back to the Monday night thing, though. I like David Njoku tonight. I like Elijah Moore. I've hit a couple times on these same game parlays for the Browns, just taking, Jameis Winston, 200 plus passing yards. Give me David Njoku on this, 40 receiving. You could even do 25 receiving yards. If you do 40 and then do like Elijah Moore 25, right? Like you're getting, plus 150 on that. So, and they're going to air the ball out. Even if he's not having success, I still think Jameis Winston can get 200 yards in this game. So, I mean, if you did even Jameis Winston 200 and David Njoku 50 plus, that's plus 140. If you do want to do the 25 plus with Elijah Moore 25 plus, like you're getting pretty much even odds. Like there's some fun things you can do with same game parlays, I think, with the Browns, just given how much they've been throwing the ball. But passing the ball against Denver's pass defense is their strength. So really not a good stylistic matchup for the Cleveland Browns tonight. On the flip side, the Broncos have skewed pass heavy at times this year. I still think the Steelers didn't do a good job of this. It was just a weird game with the snow, but I still think without Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, you want to run against this Browns defense. Their on paper rushing stats look great for the entire season. If you isolate the games that JOK has not played in, they've fallen off a cliff. So I still think this is a team you want to run on if you're Denver, like you want to run on Cleveland. So Javonte Williams, I know they split all their backs and it's tough to guess, but I'm interested in some Javonte Williams stuff tonight. If you want to take a shot on Audric Estime getting a red zone touchdown, I think you could do that. He is around 5-1 for an anytime touchdown. Don't hate that. I think you want to run on this team, though. So that's kind of my higher level thoughts on the slate. I'll be writing my blog and have that posted here soon. And like I said, I'll post my bets for this game on Twitter just because I've done so well on Browns games in the past. Overall, long stream today. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you don't know, I'm live every single weekday at 11 a.m. here on these channels. My Twitter, the Rolling Insights Twitter, and the Rolling Insights YouTube. If you're watching this, if you could take the time out of your day to please go subscribe to the Rolling Insights YouTube. We are trying to get to 100 subscribers over there before the end of the year. I think we're around 30, so, it's going to be a big push this month of December. Let's see if we can get it done. Thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck with your bets tonight, your fantasy teams, and I'll see everybody on Tuesday.